Bonjour les étudiants. This is the second video for chapter 1 where I'll be discussing the verb to be. This is the verb to be in French, and this is how you pronounce it. Pronounce it. Être. Okay, être. And it has the little hat. We call that hat, the little accent, circumflex. And the reason it's there, it's sometimes in French there used to be an S in here, but because it's not pronounced, they no longer put it here, but they mark it as a way of saying there used to be an S in this word. Okay, so if you ever taken Spanish in the past, it looks like the verb estar, right? But the S is not there, but you have that little hat to tell you that it used to be there. Okay, so this is the verb to be, and it's like I am, you are, he is, it is. And it is very important for this chapter because we are describing ourselves and others. So this is the verb that we're using. Repeat after me. Je suis. Tu es. Il est. Elle est. Nous sommes. Vous êtes. Ils sont. Elles sont. So, this is what you use. And remember, in our previous video, I told you that you need to make the adjective agree with the person. So if je, in this case, it's me, which means masculine, the adjective will look masculine. But if you're a woman and you're using je, the adjective will look feminine. The same if you're referring to tu, you, and the person you're referring to. If that you is feminine or masculine, the adjective will reflect that. This is the singular column. This is the plural column. So in this column, you will have to start using s's. That's with the exception of a vous. Remember that vous has two meanings. The first meaning is formal. Vous êtes, just like in English, you are can mean one person or more than one person. Like in Texas, we say you all, right? So vous êtes can mean one person, but you are referring to them in the formal, like you, sir, right? And the other one is you all are. So the way you figure out if someone is just talking about one person or two is by cultural context. But in the exams, in the exercises, you will see that somewhere in there it'll say that you're referring to you two persons. Usually it says you and your friend. You are this. So it'll begin by telling you who they're addressing, you and your friend. The same happens with we. It says me and my friend, we are, right? So just be on the lookout for that. This is the plural column, and vous êtes can be plural or singular depending on how you're using it. Okay? Je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. Okay? So this is the question to ask where someone's from, right? This is the informal version, and this is the formal version. Okay? And it can be formal or it can be you're referring to more than two people, like in case of your parents. So tu es d'où you would use with your roommate, right? Because it's just your roommate and there's no really level of respect that you think that is different than yours, right? So it's not Mr., right? It's just your friend. Your teacher, you would use vous êtes d'où because it's out of respect, but it's only one person, right? A sales clerk, I would say vous êtes d'où, right? Because it's a stranger. Two friends, even though you're in a familiar sort of discourse, you will use vous êtes d'où because you're asking two people together. Where are you all from? That's what you're saying, right? And in this case, you're saying, where are you from, sir? Your parents? Vous êtes d'où? Where are you all from? A new elderly neighbor, you're going to say also vous êtes d'où, because not because it's plural, because it isn't, but because it is someone you owe respect to in the cultural context. Okay, so these are the different personal pronouns that you'll be using. Je, tu, il, elle, nous, vous, il, elle. There's no difference in pronunciation between these two, with the exception when there's a verb right after the plural that begins with a vowel, which makes the S pronounceable. Okay. So these are other verbs, right? And this is the negation that we've discussed in the past. Repeat after me, please. Je ne travaille pas. Je ne suis pas. Nous ne sommes pas. Je n'habite pas. Tu n'es pas. Vous n'êtes pas. Je n'aime pas. Il, elle n'est pas. Il, elle ne sont pas. These are some adjectives that are irregular in form. So if it ends in e, the feminine version of that adjective is euse. If the ending is en, is en, if, Yves, elle, e, er. And we've discussed these in the previously. Okay, so paresseux, paresseux. If the singular ends in an X, you don't have to add an S. The X is also the plural. Okay, Canadien, Canadien, and we've discussed Canadien in the past with the doubling, right? Sportif, sportif with an S for the plural. Sportive, sportive. Intellectuel, intellectuel, just an S. And in here, the doubling, just like Canadien, intellectuel, IS. So, il est intellectuel, ils sont intellectuels, elle est intellectuelle, elles sont intellectuelles. Il est premier, ils sont premiers, elle est première. It makes that last consonant pronounceable. Elles sont premières. And you have that accent, it's called the accent grave, and we have it there because the pronunciation of E changes. Premier, première, right? It just goes low. And we've discussed the irregularity of beau, vieux, and nouveau. Jumeau. Okay. Lastly, what I want to discuss with you on competence 2 is the questions. So in French, you can ask questions with intonation. Tu es extraverti? Which, if you go to the top, let me just go to the top where our verb to be is. Okay. So you will use tu es to ask someone directly a question, and the answer will be je suis, right? You are, I am. Tu es, je suis. So that's what we're doing here with questions. If you're describing someone, if you're talking about someone that's not part of the conversation, the answer and question will look the same, right? He is, he is. She is, she is. They are, they are. They are, they are, right? So for this part, the bottom part, when you're using it in a question, they shouldn't change, right? But they do change with tu and je because you're dealing with people that are in the conversation, right? You are, I am. You are, vous êtes. The answer could be I am, or the answer could be nous sommes, right? Because vous has two meanings. You, sir, and the answer would be je suis, or you all. Are you all from here? Yes, we are from here. So the answer would be nous sommes. So you can use intonation, right, for questions. Tu es extraverti? Or you can use est ce, which is very common in French, which is the most used way to ask questions. And it doesn't mean anything. It's the se inverted. If you put the C back here in front, it's the way that we categorize things in the previous competence. I don't know if you remember. C'est Jean, c'est un homme, c'est une femme. And we do an inversion in here. But it doesn't mean anything. Est-ce que, all it means is it's a marker to say that something is a question. It's like in English with do and does. Do and does it means to do or to make, but in a question, it no longer means anything. It's only a marker to say that this is a question. Like in the question in English, do you work? Does she study? The do and the does don't add anything to it. It just tells the person that you're asking a question. Same for est-ce que. So don't try and figure out what it means. It means nothing. It's just pronounce it est-ce que, right? And you just put it at the beginning of sentences, and there you have a question. Est-ce que, so for this to be a different question with est-ce que, I would just put est-ce que at the beginning. Est-ce que tu es extraverti? Est-ce que tu es sportive? The answer would be je suis, right? Because they're asking tu. Est-ce que tu es extraverti? Je suis extraverti. Est-ce que tu es sportive? Je suis sportive. Est-ce que tes amis sont étudiants? Tes amis, your friends, meaning they, right? So the answer and the question will be the same. Est-ce que tes amis sont étudiants? Oui, mes amis sont étudiants. Est-ce qu'ils sont intellectuels? Ils sont intellectuels. Est-ce que tu es marié? Je suis marié. Est-ce qu'elle est étudiante? Elle est étudiante. Okay? And the last way to ask a question is by using a negative. N'est-ce pas? Isn't it? Right? Il est marié, n'est-ce pas? Il est marié, non? You can use these too as well. Okay? And that's it for this competence. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. And I'll be continuing to do some videos for you. Thank you so much.